Hello and welcome back, YouTube. It's still technically Friday night. Well, I mean, actually, it's not technically Friday night anymore, but it's still what most people would consider Friday night. It's 12:35 a.m. Technically Saturday morning, July 1st, 2023, and yeah, I've managed to make it into another month. So the good news is I got my rent paid. The bad news is I still haven't gotten my cable bill paid, and I still haven't managed to get a hold of Cox about that, which that kind of sucks. My Friday was so frustrating, and by now, of course, I will have. By the time anybody's viewing this, I will have hopefully. Oh shit, I'm getting stomach pains already. That's not good. Fuck it. I'm walking to wander in. Maybe I'll get something to eat at Priscilla's place. After, I was hoping to get some food when I got home. I forget what time I eventually got home, probably about 8 p.m. Yeah, I only had 2 slices of bread left. And I've got a whole pepperoni. And I don't mean like sliced pepperoni, I mean like an actual whole, pepperoni. It's one of those things Priscilla brought me when I was having, 2 weekends ago when I was feeling super sick, which, I mean, she knows I love pepperoni, but probably not one of the wisest things, because I'm thinking that, wow, it's really dark in the park tonight. I just noticed that. Like, all the lights that are normally on in the park are off. Wow. Normally I would cut right on this walkway right here and kind of walk through the playground and walk down that dirt path that goes along the other edge of the park near the townhouses down to Oak, or not Oak, but I'm sorry, Palm Lane. That's an odd place for one of those kind of vans to be parked. My first thought was maybe somebody bought it and is living in it, but it's got windows the whole length of it, and it's all still set up with, for passengers with seats in every row, and it's completely empty. It's an odd place for something like that to be parked. Anyway, normally I would walk through the park and down to Palm Lane, but I don't recall. Oh, I bet I know what the deal is. So yeah, I don't ever recall this park being this dark like this, where there's just absolutely no street lighting from within the park. But I'm willing to bet what happened is this afternoon, during that big fire, all the power to this park was probably interrupted, and I'm sure the park has power now. I can kind of see some lights off in the distance at the other end of it. But my guess is that this park probably lost power for so long that when the power resumed, whatever it is that... somebody parked here. That when the power resumed, the timer that controls when the lighting and stuff come on, it probably has reset itself. It probably doesn't realize what time it is and that the lights should be on. That's at least that's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. Yeah, very odd for Pierce Park to be so dark at night. I guess it's kind of the middle of the night. It's 12:40 a.m. But yeah, normally there's lights along all the paths and lights over the tennis court. They keep this park pretty lit up all night long, just to kind of discourage riffraff and urban camping. And I mean, I'll cut through this part here. It's enough light coming from the school across the street. But anyway, that's peculiar. That's more tennis courts on the right there, and of course I'm shining my phone in that direction. It's so dark, my screen's not capturing anything. Shooting video on Obamaphone 3. Yeah, it's not as useless as Obamaphone 4 at night, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's always a crapshoot with me. Shooting video while walking as to whether or not I should shoot with Obamaphone 3 or shoot with the iPhone 6S Plus. The 6S Plus does seem to do a little better in low lighting conditions, but it doesn't seem to like to focus very well. So I'll be able to see colors more, but it'll be blurry. Whereas this one here, some of the dark areas might not be as visibly lit, but at least they're in focus. Oh man, I ate a big chunk of that pepperoni, and that's what I'm getting right now. It's not hunger pains. I think I got a little bit of indigestion, possibly acid reflux from eating too much pepperoni without bread to offset it, which reminds me, I could have sworn I had some wheat tortillas. Well, I made a sandwich, a salami sandwich with, I've been out of cheese for a while. I made a salami sandwich with the last 2 slices of bread when I got home. I was kind of hungry. And then I was a little frustrated that was the end of the bread, but I was way too tired to deal with walking to the store, and didn't want to drive to the store because I'm, not completely out of gas in my car, but damn near out of gas in my car. And yeah, just too tired to deal with going to the store, too hot to deal with going to the store. Just yesterday afternoon just took so much out of me, just physically and emotionally. Losing my bus pass on the day that I scan it. That's especially when I'm looking at a month where I'm not going to probably be able to afford to keep gas in my car. That's brutally painful for me. And then the whole thing, it just that response that I got from the new owner of Bullock's Cocktails, him just being completely unwilling to write down anything on that form. Him just like, I can't deal with that. And my friend Candy, she texted me back. She seems super knowledgeable, but occasionally I find myself curious where the source of her knowledge is. But I do find a lot of times, like when I look up stuff she tells me, she's right. But yeah, she said that whenever a business purchases, or a person or an entity purchases a business from another business, they take over, they're supposed to, with the purchase of the business, take over all their business records. And that, fill out a form like that should be something that he's able to get from like a payroll database that should have come with the purchase of the business. Yeah, fuck this light. Fuck this light, fuck this road. Not too much traffic on it, but hey, it's 12:44 a.m. I'll be doing good to get one song in at Bullock's Cocktails, or not Bullock's Cocktails. Oh, like I'm getting those two confused again. One song in at Wander Inn. Sorry, I was kind of a loud, obnoxious homeless person over at the bus stop at 44th Street, just south of Palm Lane, that was yelling at traffic. And I got some kind of a little sticker or something stuck in my shoe. Okay, I got that taken care of. Yeah, I'm gonna head over there. I'm gonna try to sing at least one song. Maybe I'll get lucky. I'll get two. Since this is kind of like the beginning of a holiday weekend that technically puts the holiday after the weekend. And one of those holiday weekends that people who have the means like to get the hell out of town for. I don't expect it to be busy at Wander Inn. Wander Inn sometimes surprises me with stuff like that, but my expectations is that Wander Inn is probably going to be pretty dead. As I mentioned earlier today, last night I spent with Priscilla, and things were really, really nice. She ended up calling me Thursday evening. I don't know what time it was. I want to say sometime around between like maybe 6 and 7 p.m. And I was sitting down at the Human Services campus, just, pretty much done, accomplishing anything I was going to accomplish as far as, getting assistance or help or, food or anything else from there. And I was just sitting in the courtyard. I find myself spending more time doing that than I really should, but I don't know. Somehow it's been helping me mentally to spend time sitting in that courtyard where I'm at least surrounded by, other people that are dealing with exceptional struggle to try to keep or get their lives together. And, most of which are, probably already dealing with homelessness as opposed to being on the cusp of homelessness as I am. And it's been kind of good for me just kind of having a little perspective as to where I'm at, and where I will end up if I don't continue to stay on my grind. But anyway, yeah, that's where I was, and she actually called me. Normally I just get random messages, text. I don't know, there'll be days and stuff we don't speak at all, and then I'll get like a text message or a snap, and some days I respond to them immediately, and then some days I'm just frustrated and don't respond at all, or I don't respond for quite some time. And then other times, I sleep erratic hours, so which is, a situation tonight, right? So I end up not responding because I'm asleep. So anyway, but no, she actually called on the phone, so I figured, what the hell, I answered, and we've been mostly texting regarding about what had happened with my daughter Allison, and hey, well, you're down there, have you seen her? Well, this jackass parked his SUV, or not SUV, but his RV completely on the goddamn sidewalk. Wow, what an asshole. What an absolute asshole move. There's really not enough sidewalks in Phoenix in general. And then here where there actually is one, some jackass parking on it. I'm trying to inhale and see if I can smell the fire from earlier today, because I'm at 42nd Street in Palm. I know the fire was... Oh yeah, I can smell it. I can definitely smell it. I'm thinking probably in this general area, a little to the north, a little to the north, a little to the east, but I never did have a chance to go over there and figure out exactly where the fire was. But obviously the fire's been put out, and that's a good thing. And electricity is being restored, and that's a really good thing. Now, when the city of Phoenix will get around to fixing their light timers for Pierce Park remains to be seen. I wouldn't be surprised if that takes several days. maybe even over a week, since this is a holiday weekend, and I would imagine a lot of the Parks Department employees have an extended holiday weekend and probably aren't going to be back to work until Wednesday. But I am definitely wanting to go at some point tomorrow and see if I can find the remnants of where that fire was, because that fire this afternoon was just pretty much dominating news on Channel 10. Dresser sitting on the side of the road. Good times. Yeah, it was dominating the news cycle on Channel 10, and I tell you, it was really something to work. And as I predicted, Priscilla, fell asleep. I was texting her as I was coming back on the train, hoping that I wouldn't run into security wanting to scan my card, which of course I didn't get that lucky. I may have wasted one of my day passes as a result of that, which, whatever, that's just a minor inconvenience, but still, I don't know, it's still frustrating. Losing a monthly bus pass is a frustrating situation in any context, and then for it to be literally on the day that I swiped it, which is just a few days after I obtain it, because they keep track of the date of which I obtain it from LifeWell, and I'm not able to get one until like 30 days after. I don't know. I think I had one time they let me get a replacement maybe 3 weeks after I got one, but guaranteed I got that last one on Wednesday. There's no way in hell they're letting me get another one next week. And I don't even know what days are going to be open next week. It's pretty much guaranteed they're not going to be open July 4th, and whether they're open on the 3rd is debatable. Now, I do know that DES down at the Human Services campus will be open on the 3rd. I'm definitely going there to try to see if I can make some progress getting around the bullshit with the new owner of Bullock's Cocktails, just absolutely refusing to put any effort whatsoever into that form. And I really, like, if I was him in his shoes, I would have just simply filled out there were 3 different sections, and some of them were asking for a lot of detail about payroll information and hire and fire dates and conditions around firing or termination and so on and so forth. And I wouldn't have filled out all that stuff. I wouldn't have fucked with that if I was him. But I would have definitely filled out the very last section where it asks for a name and a date and a signature and title and position at company. And I would have filled in that part. And then there was some white space below that part, and I just simply would have wrote, I took ownership of this bar on, and then, the date which he took ownership. Daniel Lamoni was not an employee here, and was not an employee here at that time, and is not an employee now. And of course, technically, I've never been an employee there. It's just, with DES, whenever you file for anything, you need to, it says on it, under penalty of perjury, disclose any source of income. So I disclosed it as a source of income. But I'm sure I would have filled out on the form that it was not employment, that it was, that I was doing it as self-employment through my own karaoke services. But I'm sure the case manager probably didn't make a point to distinguish that within whatever they put in the system back at that time. Anyway, I'm just about to the bar, so I'm going to wrap this up. Hopefully Priscilla is here, and hopefully she's not too shitty with me, but yeah, it's 12:54 a.m. Yeah, I was sending text messages and stuff to her, and then she said, she wasn't responding, and the last ones I sent to her when I was over at Newtown, hoping that Michael would come by, as I assume he probably fell asleep. Anyway, when I woke up at a little bit after midnight, there was a couple text messages from her saying, "Oh yeah, I just woke up," and it looks like she didn't wake up until well after 9. But then the last text message was like, "Oh, ignoring me again," which I could it pisses me off when she jumps to that conclusion. It's like, no, I've had an exhausting day out in the heat and I fell asleep. Thank you very much.